Al-Jannah, Paradise, in the light of the Qur'aan and Sunnah Part 7. The couches of the people of paradise. The palaces of paradise have been prepared, and in their gardens are places to sit and recline, beautiful couches of delightful colors and high beds whose interiors are lined with silk brocade. Let alone how magnificent their outward appearance must be. There are cushions and splendid carpets laid out in the most delightful fashion. Al-Ayn says, "Therein will be thrones raised high, and cups set at hand, and cushions set in rows, and rich carpets, all spread out." 88:13-16. They will recline, with ease, on thrones ranged in ranks. And we shall marry them to houris, female fair ones, with wide lovely eyes. 52:20. A multitude of those, foremost will be from the first generations, who embraced Ilm, and a few of those, foremost, will be from the later time, generations. They will be, on thrones woven with gold and precious stones, reclining thereon, face to face. 56:13-16. This reclining on those thrones and couches will be one of the luxuries that the people of paradise will enjoy when they gather together, as Al-Ayn says. And we shall remove from their breasts any lurking sense of injury. They will be like brothers joyfully, facing each other on thrones of dignity. 15:47. Reclining on green cushions and rich beautiful mattresses. 55:76. Reclining upon the couches lined with silk brocade. 55:54. The servants of the people of paradise. The people of paradise will be served by boys whom Allah will create to serve them and who will be most beautiful and perfect in form. They will be served by immortal boys, with cups, and jugs, and a glass from the flowing wine. 56:17-18. And round about them will serve boys of everlasting youth. If you see them, you would think them scattered pearls. 76:19. Ibn Kathir, may Allah have mercy on him, said, "Boys of eternal youth will go around to serve people of paradise, boys who remain in that youthful form forever, never changing or advancing in age. It was said that they will be wearing earrings, to emphasize their youth, because such a thing is appropriate for young people, but it does not befit those who are older." And Allah said, 76:19, i.e. if you saw them going around to attend to the needs of their masters, with their beautiful faces and splendid colorful clothes and jewelry, you would think that they were scattered pearls. There is no more beautiful description than the picture of pearls scattered in a place of beauty. Tafsir Ibn Kathir, 7:184. Some scholars suggested that these boys are the children of the Muslims and mushrikeen who die in childhood, but this was refuted by Al-Allama ibn Taymiyyah, who explained that these boys of eternal youth are a part of the creation of paradise. They are not the children of this world. When the children of this world enter paradise, they will do so in a perfect form, like all the other people of paradise, in the form of their father, Adam. Majmu' al-Fatawa, 4/279, 4/311. The market of the people of paradise. Muslim reported from Anas ibn Malik that the messenger of Allah said, "In paradise there is a market to which the people will come every Friday, then a wind will come from the north and blow on their faces and clothes, and they will increase in beauty. Then they will return to their wives, who will also have increased in beauty. Their wives will say to them, 'By Allah, you increased in beauty after you left us.' And they will say, 'And you too, by Allah, you have increased in beauty since you left us.'" Sahih Muslim. Kitab al-Jannah, Bab Fi Suk al-Jannah, 4/2178. No. 2833. An-Nawawi commented on this hadith, "What is meant by a market is a gathering place where the people will come together, just as they gather in marketplaces in this world. Gathering together every Friday means that they will meet once a week, or what approximates to once a week. There will be no real weeks there, as there will be no sun or moon or days." The wind of paradise was described specifically as being the north winds, because for the Arabs this is the wind that brings rain, coming from the direction of Syria. So they always hoped for a wind coming from the north. In the hadith this wind is called al-Muthira, i.e. something that carries things, because it will blow the sand or dust of paradise into their faces, which is musk. Sharh Nawawi al-Muslim. 17:170. The gatherings and conversations of the people of paradise. The people of paradise will visit one another, in delightful gatherings where they will remember their lives in this world and how Allah has blessed them by admitting them to paradise. Allah described the gatherings of the people of paradise. And we shall remove from their breasts any lurking sense of injury, they will be like brothers, joyfully, facing each other on thrones of dignity. 1547. Allah has also described some of the kinds of conversation that will take place in their gatherings. And some of them draw near to others, questioning, saying, aforetime we were afraid with our families, of the punishment of Allah, but Allah has been gracious to us, and has saved us from the torment of the fire. Verily, we used to invoke him, alone and none else, before. Verily he is Al-Bar, the All-Merciful. The wishes of the people of paradise. Some of the people of paradise will wish for things that will be fulfilled in the strangest ways, unlike anything that happens in this world. The messenger told of some of these and how they will be fulfilled. Abu Hurairah said that the Prophet was speaking and a Bedouin man was present. The Prophet said, a man from the people of paradise will ask his Rabb for permission to grow things. Allah will ask him, do you not have what you want? He will say, of course. But I love to grow things. So he will sow the seeds and in the blinking of an eye the plant will grow and its fruit will ripen and become like mountains. Allah will say, here it is. O son of Adam, nothing satisfies you. The Bedouin said, by Allah. You won't find him except he is from Quraysh or the Ansar, for these are the people that love to grow things. As for us, we don't grow anything. The messenger of Allah laughed. Mishkat al-Masabeh, 395, no. 5653. The wives of the people of paradise. The wife of the believer in this world will be his wife in the hereafter if she is righteous. Gardens of Ad, which they shall enter, and, also, those who act righteously from among their fathers, and their wives and their offspring. 1323. They and their wives will be in pleasant shade, reclining on thrones. 3656. Enter paradise, you and your wives, in happiness. 4370. 2. A woman, who was married more than once, will be with the last of her husbands. In Tariq al-Raqqa, Abu Ali al-Harani reported from Maymun ibn Imran that Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan proposed to Ahmad Darda but she refused to marry him, saying, I heard about Darda say that the messenger of Allah said, a woman will be with the last of her husbands. The men in its isnad are trustworthy apart from al-Abbas ibn Salah, whose biography is unknown. Abul Shaykh reported it in At-Tariq with a Sahih isnad only quoting the Marfu version of it. At-Tabarani reported it with the Da'if isnad at al-Mujam al-Awsat but taking both isnads into account strengthens it. The Marfu version is Sahih, and it also has two corroborating reports that are Mawquf. The first of these was reported by Ibn Azakir from Ikrimah. Asma bint Abi Bakr was married to Az-Zubayr ibn al-Awwam who was harsh towards her. They will be reunited in paradise. The men of its isnad are thiqat. She came to her father and complained to him, and he said, O my daughter, have patience, for if a woman has a righteous husband, and he dies and she does not remarry after his death, they will be reunited in paradise. The men of its isnad are thiqat trustworthy, but is it mursal because Ikrimah never met Abu Bakr, he only heard it from Asma. The second report was narrated by al-Bayhaqi in As-Sunan, where he says that Hudhayfa said to his wife, if you want to be my wife in paradise, do not remarry after I die, for the woman in paradise will be with the last of her husbands on earth. For this reason, Allah forbade the wives of the Prophet to remarry after his death, because they will be his wives in the hereafter. 3. Al-Ayn. Allah will marry the believers in paradise to beautiful women who were not their wives in this world, as Allah says. So, it will be, and we shall marry them to houris with wide lovely eyes. 4454. Al-Hur is the plural of Hura, which is a woman, the white parts of her eyes intensely white, and the black is intensely black. Al-Ayn is the plural Fo'ana, which is the woman whose eyes are wide. The Quran describes Al-Hur Al-Ayn as being firm and full-breasted. Verily, for Al-Muttaqun, there will be a success, gardens and graveyards and young full-breasted, mature, maidens of equal age. 78:31-33. Al-Hur Al-Ayn are creatures that Allah has made especially for paradise, and has made them virgins. Verily, we have created, their companions, of special creation, and made them virgin pure, and undefiled, beloved, by nature, equal in age. 56:35-37. The fact that they are virgins means that no one has ever married them before, whom no man or jinn has touched before them. 55:56. This refutes the idea that the wives that Allah will create for them in paradise will be their wives from this life, made young again after old age had overtaken them. That idea if correct, and that Allah will admit the believing women to paradise with their youth restored, but they are not Al-Hur Al-Ayn whom Allah created in paradise. The Quran also speaks of the beauty of the women of Al-Jannah. And, there will be, houris with wide lovely eyes, as wives for the pious, like unto preserved pearls. 56:22-23. Maknoon, preserved, means hidden or protected, something whose color is not changed by exposure to sunlight or by being tampered with. Elsewhere, Allah likens them to rubies and coral, two beautiful precious stones. In them will be, maidens restraining their glances, whom no man or jinn has touched before them. Then which of the favors of your Rabb will you deny? Like unto rubies and coral. 55:56-58. Al-Hur are also described as restraining their gaze upon their husbands, i.e. they restrict their gaze and don't let their eyes wander to others. Allah has stated that they are very beautiful, and it is sufficient to know that Allah said, in them will be fair, companions good and beautiful. Then which of the favors of your Rabb will you deny? Companions restrained, as to their glances, in, goodly, Pavilions, 5570-72. The women are not like the women of this world. They are free of al-Hayd, menstruation, and nifas, postnatal bleeding, spittle, mucus, urine and stools. This is what is referred to in the ayah. And they shall have therein azwaj and mutahharatun, purified maids, 225. The Prophet told us about the beauty of the wives of the people of paradise. Al-Bukhari and Muslim reported from Abu Hurairah that the messenger said, the marrow of whose leg bones will be visible through the flesh because of their extreme beauty. As Sahih. Kitab al-Halq, Bab Mahafai Sifat al-Jannah, Fath al-Bari, 6318 and Muslim in Kitab al-Jannah wa Sifat Na'im al-Aliyah, Babu al-Zumra Tadkhil al-Jannah, 2178, no. 2834. Look at this beauty that the Prophet described. Can you find any comparison to it in the world that you know? If one of the women of paradise were to look at the people of this world, everything in between them would be lit up and filled with her fragrance. The veil on her head is better than this world and everything in it. Al-Bukhari, in a Sahih, Kitab al-Jihad, Bab was Awainam by Horian. Fath al-Bari, 615. The smallest number of wives that any one man will have in paradise is 72. It was reported that the Shaheed will have 72 wives from amongst al-Ayn, Mishkat al-Masabayah, 357, no. 3834, at Tirmidhi, Ibn Majah from al-Mikdam ibn Madyakrib. The Song of Al-Ayn. The messenger told us that al-Hur and Jannah sing with sweet, beautiful voices. In al-Mujam al-Awsat, at-Tabarani reports with a Sahih isnad from Ibn Umar that the Prophet said, the wives of the people of paradise will sing to their husband in the most beautiful voices that anyone has ever heard. What they will sing is, we are good and beautiful, the wives of a noble people, who look at their husbands content and happy. And they will sing, we are eternal, and will never die, we are safe and will never fear. We are remaining here and will never go away. Sahih al-Hami as-Sigir, 248, no. 1557, also Abu Na'im, Abdiya'a in Sifat al-Jannah. Samaway reported in Al-Fawa 8 from Anas that the messenger of Allah said, al-Hur al-Ayn are singing in paradise saying, we are the beautiful Hurs, we are being kept for noble husbands. Sahih al-Hami, 258, number 1598. The jealousy of al-Hur al-Ayn over their husbands in this world. The Prophet told us that al-Hur feel jealous over their husbands in this world, if the wife of one of them upsets him. Ahmad and at-Tirmidhi report with a Sahih isnad from Ma'ad that the messenger of Allah said, no woman in this world upsets her husband but his wife from among al-Hur al-Ayn will say, do not upset him, may Allah kill you. For he is with you only temporarily, and soon he will leave you and come to us. Sahih al-Hami as-Sigir, 6125, no. 7069. 4. The believer in paradise will be given the strength of 100 men. Anas reported that the Prophet said, the believer in paradise will be given such and such strength. He was asked, O Messenger of Allah, will he really be able to do that? He said, he will be given the strength of 100 men. It was reported by at-Tirmidhi, Mishkat al-Masabayah, 390, no. 5636, at-Tirmidhi said, Garib Sahih. The people of paradise will laugh at the fire. After Allah admits the people of paradise to paradise, they will call out to their opponents among the kuffar in hell, rebuking and scolding them. And the dwellers of paradise will call out to the dwellers of the fire, saying, we have indeed found true what our Rabb promised us. Have you also found true what your Rabb promised, warnings, etc.? They will say yes. Then a crier will proclaim between them, the curse of Allah is on the Dalimun, wrongdoers, 744. The kuffar are used to dispute with the believers in this world, making fun of them and insulting them, but on that day the believers will be victorious. They will be in a state of everlasting joy, looking at the wrongdoers and making fun of them. Verily, al-Abrar will be in delight, on thrones, looking at all things. You will recognize in their faces the brightness of delight. You will recognize in their faces the brightness of delight. They will be given to drink pure sealed wine, the last thereof will be the smell of musk, and for this let all those strive who want to strive. That wine, will be mixed with tasneem, a spring whereof drink those nearest to Allah. Verily, during the earthly life, those who committed crimes used to laugh at those who believed, and whenever they passed by them, used to wink to one another, in mockery. And when they returned to their own people, they would return jesting, and when they saw them, they say, verily, these have indeed gone astray. But the disbelievers had not been sent as watchers over them, the believers. But this day those who believe will laugh at the disbelievers on high thrones, looking at all things. Are not the disbelievers paid, fully, for what they used to do? 83:22-36. By Allah, the kuffar will finally get the punishment that they deserve, a punishment that fits their crimes. The believer who is now in the luxury of paradise will remember that colleague or friend who used to encourage him to follow kufr in this world and called him to embrace those misguided principles. That would have placed him in the ranks of the kuffar and enemies of Allah. He will tell his companions about that former colleague, and tell them to look at him and his punishment. When he sees how he is being punished, he will realize the extent of the blessing that Allah has bestowed upon him, and how Allah has saved him from a similar fate. Then he will address his former companion and rebuke him. Then they will turn to one another, mutually questioning. A speaker of them will say, "Verily I had a companion, in the world, who used to say, 'Are you among those who believe, in resurrection after death, that, when we die and become dust and bones, shall we indeed, be raised up, to receive reward or punishment, according to our deeds?' The man said, 'Will you look down?' So he looked down and saw him in the midst of the fire. He said, 'By Allah, you have nearly ruined me. Had it not been for the grace of my Rabb, I would certainly have been among those brought forth to hell.'" Allah informs about the true believer that he said, "Are we not then to die, any more? Accept our first death and we shall not be punished? After we have entered paradise, truly this is the supreme success. For the like of this let the workers work." 3750-61. Tasbih and Tikbir are among the delights of the people of paradise. Paradise is the abode of reward and delight, not of trials and testing. A problem might arise concerning the hadith reported by Al-Bukhari and others from Abu Hurairah, according to which the Prophet described the first group to enter paradise and said, "They will glorify Allah morning and evening." Sahih al-Bukhari, Kitab Bid al-Halq, Bab Mahafai Sifat al-Jannah, Fath al-Bari, 6318. But there is nothing problematic in this report, in Sahih, because, as al-Qurtubi said, this tasbih is not the matter of obligation or imposition, as was reported by Muslim. Hopper explained it as follows: "They will be inspired with tasbih and akbir as they are inspired with breathing." The analogy of breathing was used because it is something man does with no conscious effort. Their breathing will become tasbih, and the reason for this is that their hearts will be illuminated with the knowledge of their Rabb, may he be glorified, and filled with love for him. And whoever loves a thing remembers it frequently. Fath al-Bari, 6326. Shaykh al-Ilm ibn Taymiyyah stated that this tasbih and takbir will be one of the pleasures enjoyed by the people of paradise. He said, "This is not the kind of obligatory work that is done for the sake of a specific reward. It is the same as the kind of deeds that people do for pleasure and enjoyment." Majmu Fatawa, 4330. The best thing that the Al-Jannah will be given is the pleasure of Allah and to see his face. Some faces that day will be nadhira, shining, radiant, looking at their Rabb. 7522-23. Ibn al-Athir said, "Seeing Allah is the ultimate joy in the hereafter, the most precious gift of Allah. May Allah help us reach that goal." Hami al-Usul, 10557. Abu Sa'id al-Khudri reported that the Prophet said that Allah will say to the people of paradise, "O people of paradise." They will say, "We are at your worship, our Rabb, and all goodness is in your hand." He will say, "Are you content?" They will say, "Why should we not be content, O Rabb? When you have given us what you have not given to anyone else of your creation." He will say, "Shall I not give you better than that?" They will say, "O Rabb, what could be better than that?" He will say, "I grant you my pleasure and I will never be displeased with you after that." Al-Bukhari and Muslim, Mishkat al-Masabayeh. Muslim and at-Tirmidhi reported from Suhaib ar-Rumi that the Messenger of Allah said, "When the people of paradise enter paradise, Allah will say, 'Do you want anything more?' They will say, 'Have you not made our faces white, i.e. honored us? Have you not admitted us to paradise and saved us from the fire?' Then the veil will be lifted, and they will never have been given anything more dear to them than looking at their Rabb. May he be blessed and exalted." One report adds, "Then the Prophet recited the ayah, 'For those who have done good is the best reward, i.e. paradise, and even more, i.e. the honor of glancing at the countenance of Allah.' 10:26. Thus seeing the face of Allah was interpreted as part of the more, mazid, which Allah has promised to al-Muhsinun, those who have done good. There they will have all that they desire, and we have more for them, i.e. a glance at the Almighty, All-Majestic. 50:35. This is a joy and honor that will be denied to the kuffar and mushrikeen. Nay, surely they, evildoers, will be veiled from seeing their Rabb that day. 83:15. Imam Malik ibn Anas, the Imam of Al-Madinah, used this ayah as proof that looking at their Rabb, 75:23, literally meant they would see the face of Allah, as some had interpreted it as meaning the people would be waiting for their reward. Malik said, "They have lied. The people will look at Allah on the day of resurrection with their own eyes." If the believers are not going to see their Rabb on the day of resurrection, why did Allah say that the kuffar would be veiled from seeing him? See Sharh Sunnah, Mishkat al-Masabayeh, 3-100 No. 5662. At-Tahawi, the great Hanafi Imam, said in his Al-Aqidah at-Tahawiyah, "This seeing, Allah, is true, something that will happen to the people of paradise. It is not necessary to attempt to define it or describe how it will happen. It is mentioned in the book of our Rabb, 75:23. The way it will happen is according to the will and knowledge of Allah, and we have to believe in it as it was narrated from the Messenger of Allah in the Sahih Hadith. We should not interpret it according to our own inclinations and opinions, for no one is sound in his deen except the one who submits fully to Allah and his messenger. What is ambiguous should be referred to one who has knowledge, i.e. a scholar. Sharat Tahawiyah, 203. The refutation of those who differ. The commentator of At-Tahawiyah explained the different misguided opinions on this matter. Those who differed with regard to the believers seeing Allah on the day of resurrection are the Jahmiyah and Al-Mu'tazila, and those who followed them of the Khawarij and Umayyah. Their false opinion is refuted by the Qur'aan and Sunnah. The fact that the believers will see Allah is confirmed by the words of the Sahaba, Tabi'een, well-known scholars of ilm, al-Hadith, and by all the groups of philosophers, al-Kalam, who belong to Allah's Sunnah wal Jama'ah. This issue is one of the most important matters of usul ad-din, the fundamentals of religion, for it is the ultimate goal for which people are striving and competing. And it will be denied to those who are veiled from seeing their Rabb and who will be turned away from his mercy. He then explained the dangers of misinterpretation. This is what corrupted both the world and religion. This is what the Jews and Christians did to the text of the Torah and Injil, and Allah warned us against doing likewise, but the confused people insisted on following their path. How much harm has been caused to the religion and its followers by wrong interpretations? Was Uthman killed except as a result of misinterpretation? Would the Battle of Siffin, the Battle of the Camel, the killing of Hussein and the Battle of Al-Hira have happened without there being misinterpretation? Would the Khawarij, Mu'tazila and Rawafid have emerged, and would the Ummah have split into 73 sects, if there had been no misinterpretation? He explained that there were two reasons that the ayah should be taken to mean the believers will see Allah. 1. The understanding of the text itself. An-Nadar, looking, is connected by idafa, genitive grammatical possessive structure, to al-wajh, face, which is the location of looking, because the face is the side of the eyes. The use of the word Allah, here translated as at, clearly means that they will be looking and seeing with their eyes. The wording has no indication that it could mean anything other than that. It is crystal clear that what Allah meant is that they will see their Rabb, subhanahu, with their own eyes, which are located in the face. The Arabic word nadar is used in a number of ways and may mean different things, depending on the context. If it stands alone with nothing following it, it means stopping and waiting. Wait for us. Anharuna, let us get something from your light. 57:13. If it is followed by let in, it means thinking or pondering. Have they not considered, Yanharu the dominion of the heavens and the earth? 7-185. If it is followed by Allah, it refers to looking or seeing with the eyes. Look at, Anharullah, there. Fruits when they begin to bear. 699. So how can it be interpreted otherwise when it refers to the face, which is the side of the eyes? 2. The way in which the Salaf understood the text. He quotes a number of reports to illustrate this. Al-Hasan said, their faces will look at their Rabb and will become radiant with his light. Abu Salih reported from Ibn Abbas that looking at their Rabb, 75:23, meant, they will be looking at the face of Allah, Azza wa Jalla. Ikrimah said that some faces will be nadhir indicated because of joy, and looking at their Rabb meant truly looking at their Rabb, and he reported a similar opinion from Ibn Abbas. This is the opinion of the Mufassirin of Al-Sunnah. Concerning the ayah, there they will have all that they desire, and we shall have more, for them. At-Tabari reported that Ali ibn Abi Talib and Anas ibn Malik said, this means that they will see Allah, Azza wa Jalla. He explains the meaning of even more, az-ziya'ata, as looking at the face of Allah, as the report narrated by Muslim in his Sahih from Suhaib. Then the veil will be lifted and they will see him. And they will never be given anything more precious to them than seeing Allah. This is az-ziya'ata, the even more referred to in the ayah. The same hadith was narrated with a number of isnads and slightly different wording from others, and this is how it was interpreted by the Sahaba, as Ibn Jarir reported from Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, Hudhayfa, Abu Musa al-Ash'ari and Ibn Abbas. At-Tabari and others quoted from Ash-Safi via al-Mazani, and al-Hakim said, Al-Asam told us that Rabi ibn Sulaiman said, I was with Muhammad ibn Idris Ash-Safi when a letter reached him from Upper Egypt in which he was asked his opinion about the ayah, 83:15, and he said, as those evildoers will be veiled from seeing Allah because of his wrath towards them, indicates that these people, the believers, will see him because he will be pleased with them. The Mu'tazila however concluded from the ayat, you cannot see me. 7-143, and no vision can grasp him. 6-103, that therefore no one would see Allah, but these can in fact be used as proof against their position, for the first ayah proves that the believers will see Allah for a number of reasons. Nobody could think that Musa, the messenger of Allah and the most knowledgeable about Allah at that time, the one who spoke with Allah, would ask to see Allah, as is stated in the earlier part of this ayah, if it were improper to do so. 2. Allah did not rebuke Musa for this request, although when Nuh asked Allah to save his son, he rebuked him for doing so, see 1146. 3. Allah said, you cannot see me, but he did not say, I can never be seen or it is not possible to see me or I am invisible. There is a difference. This indicates that al-Ayn could be seen but that Musa did not have the strength to see him in this life because human beings in this world are too weak to be able to endure seeing al-Ayn. 4. The ideas mentioned in 3 can be explained by referring to the next part of the ayah, but look upon the mountain. If it stands still in its place then you shall see me. 7-143. al-Ayn showed Musa that despite its strength and solid nature, a mountain in this world could not withstand exposure to the sight of Allah, so how could a human being who was created weak, endure it? al-Ayn could have made the mountain stable, which is possible, but he had placed a condition for seeing him. If the mountain stood firm when he appeared to it, then Musa would be able to see him. al-Ayn said, when his Rabb appeared to the mountain, he made it collapse to dust. 7-143. If it is possible for him to reveal himself to a mountain, which is an inanimate object, how could it be impossible for him to reveal himself to his messengers and those whom he loves al-Ya'ah in the abode of honor which is paradise? 7. al-Ayn spoke to Musa, and if a person is permitted to speak and converse with no mediator, then it is more befitting for him to be able to see the one to whom he speaks. No one could deny that people may see al-Ayn unless they also deny that al-Ayn may speak to them, and those who denied that al-Ayn could be seen did in fact also deny that al-Ayn could speak to his slaves. Their claim that lan, never, implies absolute and eternal negation can be answered by the fact that the people will see al-Ayn in the hereafter, and such a negation will not necessarily be carried over into the hereafter, especially as in this case a condition was attached. There are other similar instances in the Qur'an, but they will never long for it. 295. Although elsewhere he says, and they will cry, O Malik. If lan meant absolute, let your Rabb make an end of us. He will say, verily you shall abide forever. 4377. If lan meant absolute and eternal negation, i.e. that such and such a thing would never happen, it would not be possible to impose conditions, but al-Ayn says, therefore I will not leave this land until my father permits me. 1280, which proves that lan does not imply absolute negation. The evidence that people may see al-Ayn is presented in the most eloquent fashion, and in the context of praise, and it is well known that praise is something positive. A thing that does not exist cannot be praised. When al-Ayn praises by negation it implies something positive, a thing that does not exist cannot be praised. When al-Ayn praises by negation it implies something positive, like when he is praised by saying that he neither slumbers nor sleeps, which implies that he is the Eternal One. Or by saying that he never dies, which implies that he is the eternally living, or by saying that he never feels tired or exhausted, which implies he is the all-powerful. Or by saying that he never forgets or lacks awareness, which implies that he is all-knowing. So there is no praise in negation unless it implies something positive. The one who is perfect cannot share in the quality that is denied. The meaning is that al-Ayn may be seen but he cannot be seen in his entirety. The eye no vision can grasp him, indicated that he is almighty, and because of his greatness he cannot be fully comprehend, for idrak, comprehension, is something that surpasses seeing. As al-Ayn says, and when the two hosts saw each other the companions of Musa said, we are sure to be overtaken. 2661. Musa did not deny that they saw them, but he denied that they would overwhelm them, because seeing ru'ya, and overwhelming or surrounding, idrak, could take place independently of one another. al-Ayn may be seen, ru'ya, but he may never be fully comprehended, just as he may be known, but never completely. This is how the Sahaba and Imam understood this ayah, as their opinions are recorded in its tafsir. Even the sun, which is a mere created entity, cannot be fully comprehended by the one who sees it. The hadith narrated by the Prophet and his companions concerning the believers seeing al-Ayn has also reached the level of ta'atur and were recorded by the compilers of the 6 books. For example, the hadith of Abu Hurairah, some people asked, O Messenger of Allah, will we see our Rabb on the day of resurrection? The Messenger of Allah said, do you doubt that the moon is seen when it is full? They said, no, O Messenger of Allah. He said, do you doubt that the sun is seen when there are no clouds to hide it? They said, no. He said, then you will see him just as clearly. Narrated by al-Bukhari and Muslim, who narrated a similar hadith from Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, and narrated by Jarir ibn Abdullah al-Baili, narrated by al-Bukhari and Muslim. Abu Musa narrated in al-Bukhari, Sharat Tahawiyah, p. 204-210.